I told you, the only people that can threaten Ahmed Bola Tinubu and he to shake Chiba are the Fulanis. You don't take them for granted. The Fulanis are not the rest you can take for granted because they have perfected their programs of holding Nigeria to ransom. When you get to the north, you understand that barely would you see any prominent politician from the north that is from Hausa extraction, of that is from Kanuri or Nupe. The Fulanis have hijacked the entire system of governance in the north. They have built their expansions, they have fixed in their own machineries, their own people, different status of the system and are in full grip of the entire northern decision making when it comes to northern decision making or decision making and policy making within the north. They are the one at the front line or in the front line. They dictate, of course, the tune because they are in possession of the pipe. So no other person can challenge them. Just take an instance, the entire states of the north. How many are being controlled by the Hausa people? The Hausas are the original owners of most of those states. But eventually we are skimmed out of events. They use them to fight against their own people. They use their own people to fight against their people, silence them, take over their own uh, dynasty or traditional hierarchy in governance, and eventually enthrone their own Fulanis as emirs. All this part of the north, how many Hausa man is being to ban to be an emir? It's barely a Fulani man. And when you come to the political domain, arena, of the heavyweights that are making waves today in the north are all Fulanis. Atiku is a Fulani man. Buhari is a Fulani man. Belebe Musa a Fulani man. Kwankwaso a Fulani man. Erufai a Fulani man. They have hijacked the entire modern political space, and they are the one to dictate who becomes the next president extension of the northern part of this country. If you do not represent their interests, they can't project you. If you do not represent their overall interests, I mean the Fulani interests, not the northern interests, they will fight you down. Of course, you don't have the political wings, wits, or the political strength or economic strength to fight them back. Now, they have said we are going to show Tinubu our true color. If Tinubu must be head bent in going on with the tax reform bill, implementation of the tax reform bill, they say we are going to show Tinubu who we are. Maybe he do not understand who the Fulanis are, what they represent, and the power they wield within the Nigerian political sphere. We are going to teach him who we are. We are going to let him know who we are, our true color. He is going to see it. And Tinubu is panicking because when these people say something, they meant it. You see the way they supported their own people. Buhari, regardless of the fact that Buhari's government was one of the worst governments in the history of Nigeria, with the demi corruptions, with the abnormalities, misgovernance, reckless spending, borrowing, and all that, they all covered up for him. Even when other regions of this country went out to protest, they said we can't go. The North are not part of it. The North, in quotes, are the Fulanis. Of course, very clearly, the Fulanis, when issues of the North is being brought to fore, what they are discussing is the Fulanis. They are the North. Other peoples have been subjugated and suppressed. They have been silenced. In fact, they have been rendered useless and important, if I will use the word. None of them are speaking anymore. When you come to the hierarchy of the military and other parastatals, they have been able to infiltrate in different status or different parastatals of the life wires of the government. So when they said we are going to show Tinubu our true color, they meant a serious business with Ahmed Bola Tinubu. That means there is something fundamentally wrong. Tinubu might think he is well secured with the people around him, but not when it comes to the issue of Fulanis. Because what they are seeing now is Tinubu is a hindrance to that agenda, Fulani agenda, overall interest, not just about the North. Most of the killings you see is going on, land grabbing and all that. The North has not been able to address it. Why? Because there is an overriding interest. They say they are the North. If you are the North, why fighting against one another? Why fighting against yourself? Why the land grabbing in Jos, in Plateau, in Benue? Why? But there are vested interests that is not disclosed. Well, it is no longer hidden because people can see through the cloud, the thick cloud of whatever is happening, gathering today. So it is quite very clear. They are coming now, making their calculations, political permutations, calculations, how best they could manipulate other regions or other minority ethnic nationalities to play along with them, projecting Tinubu government to be one of the worst, when even Buhari time was the worst. You know how many people died in Buhari's regime and dispensation, the level of hunger that even built the pathway to this economic woes and destruction. But they covered up for Buhari because Buhari represents the interest. Buhari is part and parcel of them. The fact to blame Buhari for the economic woes, but now tackling Tinubu, and some gullible people will not understand what is playing out. As much as I don't support Tinubu's anti-people's policies, and his policies have not been working for the common masses. But there is something beyond that. There's something they are projecting that is beyond that, trying to use the bad economy to gain sympathy from some gullible and people who could not decipher or think with themselves for themselves. They want to use their propaganda, sponsor their propaganda, well trained propagandists in different quarters. Some are governors, some are in the Senate cabinet, some are even within the Tinubu's cabinet, feeding them with the right information to work with. And eventually, Ahmed Bola Tinubu may not know that he is sitting at the verge of a very uh, high cliff, at the verge of a possible collapse. If I were to be Tinubu, well, I don't know how strong his own propaganda is or whatever might be his plan and programs, or to beat these Fulanis, because they have told you that they are very much ready for you, that they are going to show you their true color. If you dare them, just in the recent past, about a few days ago, Tinubu reiterated his commitment to implement that tax reform bill. He said it's a no-go area. I am going to implement it. And that would be a very big blow to this northern cabals who have been taking advantage of the ineptitudeness and imbalance in the system to enrich themselves to project their agendas and, of course, to take undue advantage of other regions. They are not seeing that with this tax reform bill, there will be some level of equity, there's some level of balance in the system. It might not be all what Nigerians need, but there will be some balancing scale that will now allow other regions who has been eating like ants while walking like elephants. That will be an equitable distribution to some extent of the resources. They say, no, that is not what we want. We want to take everywhere. And this man is coming with an agenda to scuttle our intentions and programs to take over the entire estate of our forefathers than Fodio, which, of course, Tinubu is among those regions that should be conquered. I mean, the southwest. That is my own opinion. You know, you may have a different opinion or perspective regarding this. We are just discussing and making projections about what is playing out. And these people are well articulated. They plan ahead, they see ahead. They have seen that with the move Tinubu is making, I mean, they stand the risk of losing out entirely if they do not swing into action. That Tinubu, of course, is another Maradona in the system. He understood what they understood as well. He knew what they knew. So you know what that these are two giants or cabals trying to dislodge one another. It's only a process of time would define or determine who succeeds, who outsmarts the other uh, in time to take over the grip of whatever they are fighting for. It's just for economic control. And this economic control will be used to control other regions and silence them. And most especially, you know, during Buhari's time, the Ruga stuff, the water the way stuff, the grazing reserve stuff was all projections of the Fulani nation or the Fulani Caliphate to overrun the entire Nigerian state. There are speculations and revelations, even been the submissions made by Melafia before his demise, and every other persons have been pointing at that, and clearly people can see. Uh, the former, okay, the current governor of Bauchi states very, very frantic solutions, which people, I believe, may not be living in with a short memory. He said that Fulanis are global citizens, that they have the right to occupy wherever they are, regardless of whatever your period might be. So, with these developments and the other insinuations and actions, body language of the Northerners in terms of being condemning some excesses of the both the Fulani militias in different parts of the north and, of course, by extension, the south is suspicious. But how now could Tinubu survive this very serious conspiracy? Serious conspiracy, and they could go up at all lengths to buy even the Tinubu's men and use them against the Jagabah. If, of course, they do not guide his back, he may not be surprised at what will happen to him because everything is possible under this earth. But for them to say that we are going to show you your true color, well, the days to come, the coming days will be very intriguing and exciting as we watch this drama, this next series of this drama plays out. Only God knows how far that will go and to what extent that could degenerate. You know, Tinubu said he's going to fight dirty, and they see somebody who not just willing to fight dirty along with him, but to show him their true color. Well, this is another battle line drawn Tinubu against the Fulani heavyweights waiting to reclaim the seat of power. After Buhari served for 8 years, so they want the power to return not just to the north, but in their hands, in their bare hands, so that they will rewrite the wrongs and the miscalculations they made by supporting Muslim thinking they will be able to pocket Ahmed Bola Tinubu. But Ahmed Bola Tinubu have shown them that his own red eye will not be say in the cry. Uh, everybody can take anything. It depends on your perception about what is happening. Let's get to know what is your own perception. Will Tinubu eventually become a scapegoat, or will he eventually dislodge the northern Kabas? Erofai has been that son has been lamenting and shouting. Would it mean that Tinubu will eventually buy them up? See, or could they, of course, have an alternative? The best way to dodge Tinubu. We have not seen our true color, but we are going to show you our true color. But nobody knows what that means yet. But that is a heavy word, and will not be taken lightly. We'll continue to watch as things unfold and eventually get to know what is the next line of action. Tinubu saying there is no vacancy in Asoro may have provoked some northern cabals who are seriously shopping for his replacement because he has stopped on several toes and they're still stepping on more toes. So they are saying that this man, we are going to show you who we are. And of course, well, Tinubu might not be the talking one, blah, 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 but what he intends to do, of course, is within him. It's just a matter of time to see him playing his Maradonistic, Jagabanistic tendency that they are yet to know. He said there's no vacancy, telling them that the door is closed. They are saying, if you close this door, we have another route how to get to you. And then you all understand that, of course, whatever bird that flies above sky will always be seen by the earth. Well, let's get to know how that plays out. In just a moment of time, I will continue to bring your way the exciting and intriguing moments here. And the Chico's and the world, the host, wishing you all the best. Don't forget to hit the like buttons, share, and subscribe. This channel for more political. Bye.